Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Donnellan, and this is my vision of a sustainable city, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I would like to think I know a little bit about Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, because this is the city in which I was born and raised, and I'd also like to think that I know the potential that it has as a future leader in sustainability and resiliency. There are many beautiful things about this city, but there is much room for improvement. Through the following few policies, if implemented, Harrisburg will create a robust economy which is environmentally friendly, its people will be happy and healthy, and it will stand above future disasters and catastrophes as a beacon of possibility. A little demographic information about Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is that it is a smaller city with a population of 50,099 residents as of the 2020 census. The land area is approximately 8.13 square miles and it has a population density of approximately 6,000 residents per square mile. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is located along the banks of the Susquehanna River, which runs from New York through Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, and then exits into the Chesapeake Bay. Harrisburg is a great source for natural capital. There is agriculture for food, clean water sources, and the natural beauty of being along the river in a temperate region. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania gets approximately 46 inches of rain a year and 26 inches of snowfall. This is a fantastic natural resource in that the water supply continuously has the ability to renew, although this can change with future circumstances. As far as physical capital goes, the infrastructure is a little bit outdated and kind of dilapidated, just like many of the cities on the East Coast. This is because on the East Coast, the cities tend to be much older than they are in other parts of the country. And this same issue goes for the factories and warehouses which are located in Harrisburg. Many of them have lots of potential, but they do need renovated and updated to be more current with our understanding of technologies. Human capital in Pennsylvania, and in Harrisburg in general, has a lot of experienced and hardworking individuals. They have the capacity to learn and be educated about how they can move forward in a new kind of future where they do work that is sustainable and resilient and is fed back into their local ecosystem and economic system. The first policy I would like to implement is a clean water policy. The policy type is going to be a regulation. The water for Harrisburg, Pennsylvania comes from the Dehart Dam, which is located approximately 20 miles to the northeast of the city, with supplemental water added from the Susquehanna River. Therefore, the description of this policy is to reduce nitrogen runoff into water sources. As it turns out, the largest pollutant comes from agriculture. This is backed up with the information that in 2020, the Chesapeake Bay Foundation opened a lawsuit against the EPA pertaining to the failure of New York and Pennsylvania failing to sufficiently reduce pollution as for the agreement that the Chesapeake Bay Clean Water Blueprint of 2010 and updated in 2014 presented. One of the solutions to this is to regulate the fertilizer best practices set by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. This means that we regulate the amount of fertilizer used, the time of the application of the fertilizer, and the methodology in which it is used. The second regulation, which will really help, is to have riparian zone requirements. That means that there will be a buffer between the farmland and the waterways in which the fertilizer has to run through different foliage and trees and other plants such that it reduces the kind of waste that enters the water system. Punishments for this will include fines and higher crop insurance to those who are in non-compliance. The ideal goal in this will increase our natural capital. The primary and secondary sources of water will be protected to increase local resilience and protect all of our resources for water for future generations. The second policy I would like to implement deals with infrastructure. As you can see from the picture, the Walnut Street Bridge has been in disrepair and unusable since 1996 when it was taken out by an iceberg. This greatly reduced mobility and accessibility of people to use a walking or bicycle means of transportation safely to get from City Island to downtown Harrisburg and the Wormleysburg riverfront. Therefore, this policy type is going to be an expenditure because it's going to directly take tax money to incorporate. The description is that aging infrastructure now creates an opportunity to rebuild with a green future in mind. The indicators will be better accessibility, an increased use of mass transit, and permeable pavement used when redoing roads and walkways. The indicator goals are inspired by the 1 Minute City. I believe with the size of Harrisburg and the population, it's possible to create a method for people to have better accessibility through biking and walking trails, but also the use of solar-powered bikes and scooters located throughout the city with access for anyone. The stations will be charged by solar power, so it won't cost anything to renew them or recharge them. And then people will be able to access them by scanning something on their smartphone, by scanning their license or ID, or their school IDs in order to gain access. In order to increase mass transit, there will be definitive bus lanes, but also a light rail system installed that circumnavigates the city and also the surrounding towns. This will reduce the amount of traffic and pollution that comes into the city, the wasted space for the multiple parking garages, and then it will reduce the greenhouse emissions that sit in the valley which Harrisburg lies. By implementing this green infrastructure and the idea of the 1 Minute City and having all these new bike paths and walkable trails, it'll increase our physical capital by creating more accessible and ecologically friendly infrastructure that we can preserve the local ecosystem with, increase productivity, and elevate people's well-being. The third policy I would like to implement is waste reduction. This policy type is going to be financial and regulatory, and the idea is to reduce waste from production, packaging, and disposal of products. The indicators will be an increase in recycling, less waste byproducts, increased local food sourcing, and composting, with the indicator goals being zero waste. Much like what Subaru has done with their factory, they're able to repackage their byproducts and sell them and avoid sending them to the landfill. This is a fantastic way to reduce waste in the manufacturing process. There could be an increase in recycling by mandating that people actually recycle instead of just having it offered as an opportunity. And then we could increase local food sourcing at flea markets and farmers markets such that there's less plastic packaging being used. And then initializing composting as part of the waste management system will greatly reduce a lot of the food waste that just gets thrown into the landfill. This will increase the natural and human capitals. The natural capital will be preserved in the local area, and the community will be able to learn new skills, learn about their health, increase their health, and teach through new experiences. This will help forge better community and societal bonds within Harrisburg City. The resiliency initiatives presented deal with increasing Harrisburg's self-sufficiency. We can increase our local agriculture to rely less on outside sources. We can use solar to remove ourselves from the national power grid. We can update our local infrastructure with green principles to protect local water sources, manage water use, and provide safe and efficient forms of mobility in the city. We can achieve zero waste and not rely on outside companies to bus our trash to landfills. We can educate our community on these principles and expand their knowledge, their skills, and their connectivity. There cannot be true sustainability or resiliency without equity. Everyone will have access to the benefits of these policies. In order to do so, people will canvass the city for a period of time to inform people about policies being voted on so they know the who, what, where, when, and why it affects them. And there will be regulations that there will be no manufacturing, water, sewer treatment, or waste to be handled near any residential areas. There will be special grants given for lower income sections to have their houses updated with the new green policies. In conclusion, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania will be a sustainable and resilient city. They'll be able to show the world how to reduce waste, rethink infrastructure, protect water sources, and invigorate local agriculture. The policies presented previously in this presentation will help guide us on that path, and hopefully, in the future, we'll be able to be a light and a beacon of hope for the whole world to see. Thank you.